which is something.
I think Max had an excellent lane here, the three that would have held.
But we're going to go into it now. First map will be Nuke as we throw it to our casters, Yumi and Squiv.
Yes, thank you very much, Lethal. We, of course, are going to be here on this first map of the second semi-final of the day, Vexed up against Endpoint. It's similar to the first series in a sense of the clashing of the styles, the structured team up against the mix. I'm, of course, Scriv. Joining me for the entirety of this one is going to be Yumi, but we're straight into the action, and Imi, of course, opening up on outsiders. It seems to be a bit of a rush from the T side. They do manage to trade it back, so at the very least, leaving it in a 4 versus 4.
Yeah, the Starman himself is able to get the first frag, but not able to stop them from getting towards that B site. And for now, Endpoint haven't made the rotations. They're still committed towards the upper side, making sure that isn't some sort of a fake, that they don't have the vents to potentially explore the A side of things, but now they'll group up together. Moving in towards the ramp room is Vexed. Look to get this bomb planted.
Yeah, it's a really interesting kind of rotational style from Endpoint. Laney, clean headshot coming in from him. Obviously one of those names they were mentioning on the desk to potentially step up. We'll have to see. So it's a man advantage at the moment for Endpoint. They do have this kit and the smoke still available. Another kill comes in for Z&X here. It's Mezzy, of course, we're trained on him because he's in such a key position. He only manages to get one, though, as Ardis trades him back. It's all on to Fraser. He manages to find the head of the first. The defuse coming in, and he will take down Mighty Max. Caught reloading, he finds it. Fraser gets all 3, and a huge 1 versus 3 coming in as Vexed are able to steal away the pistol.
Him being able to get that kill through the smoke was absolutely the changing moment. He didn't think the other player was going to be close enough as well to trade him out, and although it's awkward, I mean, he gets the job done. Vexed able to hold things down, and what a way to pull things back. Fraser immediately stepping up to the plate, and he's actually been one of the weaker factors, I think, for Vexed. People, you saw Imi before in the interview saying that one of the exploitable factors could be Fraser's positioning, and maybe that's not a bit of a factor just as we start off another round here on the T side of things. Vex moving quickly towards A, but so much damage exchanged. It's so far an exchange that's equal as Max comes in on the rotation, but Ardis now left in a 1 versus 2, and he may just still think this is something towards the A site.
Fraser definitely feeling it. Nice crisp 2K coming in for him, and it was a great movement in towards A, of course, as they work very well together. I think that's one thing that Vex have got down is the fundamentals. Bit of an off angle from Fraser coming in as he picks up a 3K. And although it is kind of costly for Vexed up against a 4-spy, you know, they'll be happy to just take it because obviously they're going to have this accumulator round coming up now before we get into the first proper rifle round. A map like Nuke, though, it's not strange to see the second round 4-spies. It's obviously something we talk about all the time. The economic changes have really made the difference and made the CT side especially a little bit more versatile. We'll see, though. They've got some more upgraded pistols coming into this one. A few more Deagles in play. Mighty Max only on the USP, so we'll see. Is he going to be picking up the AWP? We don't know, because, again, it is this mixy kind of style that they've got going on. Ooh, Z&X in an interesting position, but a great flash comes in from Fraser, and it will be the opening pick for Vexed.
Yeah, it shouldn't really be around that Endpoint are going to be able to make too competitive. I think a note we can kind of bring up is that Endpoint, they've played this twice. They've won both times on Nuke, right? One of the wins was against Royals. That was 16-10. Vexed, the second time they played this in the playoff stages against Royals, 16-0. So there's a disparity between who they played, obviously at different points of the lineup. But Vexed off to a very good start so far. No casualties in a round like this is something that they want to play for, but given that they have these SMGs, they're happy to hunt these down. Adam will be able to get one more, farm a bit more onto Max as well. Imi's looking for a rifle. He tried his best, but Fraser will succeed, and it doesn't seem like Laney will get too many opportunities. Adam's weakened up. I guess an SMG is something, but realistically, you won't really want to bring that full up. Okay, doesn't even get that one. 3 HP. Anything would have done.
Yeah, paying for that Mac 10 twofold, but I'm going to be honest, I don't know what Fraser's been putting in his coffee, but it's certainly something a bit spicy because he's looking really crisp right now, and it's very early on in the series and the map itself, so that certainly bodes well. Not died yet, 7 kills as well coming in for him, so that's really interesting. We'll see how that develops as the game goes on. Obviously going to be into our first rifle round here. Adam playing the informational play and actually manages to get a kill. Sure, he gets traded, but it's going to be a weakened A site. And with outside control, with lobby control, you can see that Vexed are looking to pincer in onto A. Laney understands this. He's going to start moving forwards. He knows there's a player in lobby here. This is going to be a key exchange, nade in hand. However, he gets the rifle back out, but he's not ready for Laney to be pushed up. That's the bomb as well. And Endpoint have gotten themselves some really good control here.
And you can see, although Vex took outside, now they need to regroup and retake this position. In fact, Endpoint reinforcing it as well. Two players pushed in to at least trade things out should Vexed somehow find a way back in. Mezzi will take the high ground, try his best to descend at the same timing as his teammates go in. Now the smoke will segment them and another one goes down. That eats up so much time for Vex to be able to get this bomb back. And so does it now fall into Mezzi? Does he try and make a brazen play by himself? Because that's a very easy way to kind of cascade this round out of control and just give it completely up to Endpoint.
Running the clock down slightly on that T side, just hoping to catch some players off guard. I believe Mezzi spraying there to cover the drop sound, but still giving him away. A nice Molotov comes through, but Laney actually manages to find a frag, and it's ZNX now who's going to have to go huge. He will get one. Is that going to be enough? We'll find out. Fraser has been playing very well so far. He's in the 1 versus 3, finds the first. He does take a fair amount of damage for it, and Ardis is trained on that bomb. Will drop him, and no crazy shenanigans coming in. So Endpoint, they will manage to get that first rifle round on the board. Again, it's close. There are some key moments, some little things. Watching that first series, I really thought it was a game of inches, and we're kind of seeing similar, at least in the first rifle round, a similar kind of setup coming in for both of these teams. But obviously, we will see. There's money available for Vexed. Can they keep it rolling? Can they pull one back and not allow Endpoint to close the gap?
Yeah, and it was a good recognition as well from Endpoint to get aggressive in a situation like that and recognize that outside was compromised. And Laney's going to continue his good form. So far, 1 kill, although it is exchanged, it takes a hefty amount of damage, and ZNX is able to capitalize. These SMGs are doing so much damage, but it's into the 1 versus 2 now. Another clutch situation for Fraser to try and deliver in, and the nade tags him down.
Does have that bomb on his back, however, so he kind of is dictating the pace. A nice little bit of movement. Going to spot this player up high, but not able to line up properly. And Endpoint will take it. I'm not entirely sure. You know, we talked about the structure of Vexed and how they have probably one of the deeper playbooks of all the teams here this weekend. And it's a little surprising to see. I suppose it's early on, and maybe they are playing to that fact that everyone expects them to be structured. But rushing straight into A as soon as you lose a round is somewhat disrespectful in a sense. And Endpoint, although again, you know, it is kind of this technically disbanded roster, etc., all those storylines we've been talking about, they are still a fairly formidable team, and these guys have played together fairly often as well. So I don't think you're going to catch them with their pants down, so to speak, in a round like that, and hopefully we don't see Vex pulling out the rushes super often. Ardis going to be opening up on the AWP. It does seem that he's going to be that comfortable AWPer on this map. And he's been doing fairly well so far. Fairly consistent, I would say.
Yeah, Vex just kind of spreading themselves thin a little bit. Of course, just the half-buy brought into this one. As he does have 1 flash, he's setting up towards the A side of things, such that maybe Link can find a way into the site. ZNX able to dispatch of Crepe. The second is easy as well. Imi had the high ground, and Mezzi, he was the one in the supportive role. Still have a deagle in hand, trying to do as much damage as possible, such that Endpoint economy is at least kept low. First opportunity there, but stolen away by ZNX. It's a 3K for him against the eco, really, but an equalizing round for Endpoint. There's 3 to start for Vexed and answered right back, and maybe we don't expect this to be quite as close. Like you said, I mean, although this team is technically kind of on the way out, you saw that Max, they know that they're coming in with minimal expectations. Vexed were kind of elevated as being one of the guaranteed finalists. One of those quote-unquote guaranteed finalists is already eliminated, taken out by Wind and Rain. So maybe a similar storyline could ensue if, like the desk had said, the underestimation of what Endpoint could bring to the table comes through.
Well, I think a lot of people, just kind of quickly before we get into this, I think a lot of people are kind of maybe not considering... All right, I'll hold the point, because Ardis is about to see some action here, honestly. A good couple flashes coming in. Great timing from him, though, to find that kill onto Fraser whilst blinded. goes for the repeat, though, and it's kind of a questionable one. Maybe he was expecting Laney to help him out. Unfortunately, Link and Adam make quick work of the outside hold, and suddenly now they have got control of the B hall, so to speak. Max is here, but they're not entirely sure on the rest of the Endpoint side whether they have pushed down Secret, whether they are rotating back towards A. Cray is holding the flank here as well, so with that man advantage, Vexed have actually gotten themselves quite a lot of control. The boys will start to move forwards. It all depends. Is Cray going to find those rotators or not? Mighty Max is here waiting. This is a dangerous angle. He needed to find that frag. Has yet to drop back, taking the aggressive angles here, playing confidently, and it's working beautifully. Picks up a 2K, secures the man advantage back for his team, creates room for the rotators to come in, and as they both jump through control room, they have no idea, and it is perfectly played there. Endpoint with a fantastic recovery in that round.
And you can see the quick communication there as well. Max, he just threw the smoke down. He wasn't really too sure that he could get flanked from ramp, but as soon as the comm came in, immediately trained on the angle and hits the shot. Like you said, it bought him enough space to breathe, and he only had to worry about one avenue of attack from there on out. The decon area didn't have any steps or any noise made towards that position, and so he was comfortable in taking that duel.
But yeah, as I was kind of touching on earlier, I feel like, you know, a lot of the players coming in this weekend have kind of thought, right, this Endpoint side playing as a bit of a mix. And I think mentally, yes, but the players that they have aren't typically mixy players. They're not like crazy, you know, fraggers, aggressive and things like that. We talked about it when we casted this lineup in the regular season, but Mighty Max and Imi and ZNX, they've all kind of had roles as leaders, so to speak, whether it's from coaching or in-game leading. And I think the beauty of Laney and Ardis is that at the end of the day, they listen, right? And they seem to gel relatively well together, although there's not a lot you can do about 1Deeks coming in. Then next going to try and hold things down, but this is being kept even, and a key double actually being picked up by the Glock of Fraser certainly opens up this A bomb site. Vexed have got a chance of stealing one away.
I mean, we know he's been having a good game, but surely the gun disparity should have been enough for Endpoint to be able to stop that push, but for now, they'll have the man advantage. A gun recovered in Mezzi's hands as well, and that's dangerous. One of the leading performers, one of the top players in the UK. Max will try his best to get his way out. Artis, smoke fading as well. For a way in, but Mezzi, he strikes. Max has to pull things back from the 1 versus 3, and he just can't do it. The double kill's there on the retake.
And that's maybe where, in a round like that, where once things kind of start to fall apart, because of the nature of this Endpoint team and them not being 100% solid with each other, they're not able to pick up the pieces again. And I mean, you know, we cast a lot of CS. It happens a lot. Teams really start to panic against pistols, and we see, you know, ZNX trying to recover things back as he loses his teammate, goes for a wide swing, only gets one. It's not quite good enough. Maybe in a normal rifle round, sure, but, you know, it's a crazy, hectic round that Vex are able to get away with. Ardis went for an early peek here onto the squeaky door. Takes a hell of a lot of damage. And considering he's, you know, one of the players on the strongest weapon and one of 3, let's say, of the comfortable weapons, certainly not great. Imi caught with a nade in hand as well. ZNX, again, swinging out from Silo. Seems to not have very much versatility in his style of play. And with these remaining 3 players, 2 of them being low, they are going to back away and save. So Vex will regain the lead. And I mean, 5 rounds already on the T side is certainly respectable here on Nuke.
And I think Vex have recognized as well that Endpoint are playing a little bit heavier to outside. Laney's in a position in which he can kind of support Ardis as soon as he takes first contact. He's then from that main position. And you saw Adam kind of creeping in towards that door and immediately deploying the smoke. That was the signal. They just bombard and just burst out towards A, and there's no immediate response for Endpoint. As soon as ZNX has the single piece of communication there from Imi that they're out squeaky, they're going to start pushing the site, there's 2 players sitting in front of him, and it's just a very, very difficult duel for him to be able to win. So I think Vexed are looking to exploit the inner position a little bit more. Maybe we'll see if Endpoint clue themselves into that fact. At the very least, they've kept the AWP on Ardis, and that's, I think, so far something we haven't seen too much of. On the Vex side is that the scope weapon hasn't been too profound, or actually picked up at all. So. Yeah,
I mean, generally on Nuke it is one of those maps where you pick up the AWP on the T side to kind of answer back, and if Ardis isn't consistently, it looked good early on, and then as we've, you know, gone into a few more rifle rounds, it's not really been as effective. So if he's not solidly consistent with it, then suddenly you lose that prowess, that pressure of the AWP existing, so you don't need to get one on the T side, which I think Vexed at the moment they are definitely preferring, because they're going for these faster, more tight-knit kind of plays where they're just working off of the trades, working off of, you know, the early pick and just playing the mathematical game. So I can kind of see it, but then as soon as we say that, Fraser is fancying one, he's picked one up. Because I guess, again, in a round like this, as we can see, Ardis is so important, he's pushing forwards and he will find the opening pick. It is a smart pickup. Imi with the USP takes down Fraser, though, and Mighty Max takes down Adam. They all move together, just a sea of blue going straight in towards the lobby area, picking up all the kills, all the people that they see. Mezzy and Link going to try and move in here. Link will take down Laney. However, he's left on 6 HP, an easy pickup for Mighty Max. Traded back by Mezzy. He's going to need a 4K hit in order to find this. No bomb nearby. So I do not have the highest hopes for him. You never know. Stranger things have happened. Especially because, again, you know, you've got ZNX, you've got Imi, no Kevlar.
And this was a round where they just saved the weapons. They didn't buy up anything additional, right? The classic lobby crunch in and Vex get caught off guard. It has to be the clutch to bring it back.
Too split out, really.
Yeah, and there it is. Ardis is able to have impact on the AWP. They time it to perfection and they pick them apart in that lobby position. That's the second time the bomb's now been dropped in a compromising spot, and Endpoint have been able to capitalize off that fact. Lobby is a bit of an issue. Maybe the default isn't as sound as Vexed would like. But I mean, 5 rounds on the T side already for Vexed. It's not the worst of circumstances if Endpoint kind of closed out the rest of the half. 5 rounds is certainly enough wiggle room to kind of set up your CT side, answer back respectively. Gap in the outside smoke, so that's going to make it difficult to cross.
Just about to mention, I'm not quite sure what has happened there. They will wait, though, and they'll eventually get it down, but now it's kind of the earlier smokes are starting to dissipate, so they don't have a great deal of time. They really do need to start moving forwards. Ardis is a little unlucky. If they'd have waited maybe a second longer, he could have found possibly a Kalat as 3 players stacked on top of each other moving down secret. They will manage to get in safely, though. And not a great deal of resistance. Max is kind of nearby, but he's not holding, you know, a stairs position or anything like that. He is here in dark. Bit of an off angle on it, but it's a very difficult one to not just take that as a one and done spot, especially when it looks like he's going to have 4 players just coming straight towards him. Fraser, interestingly enough, holding the flank with the AWP. So that is certainly something a bit different as he will start to move forward. He's got to be very careful here. Or comes in from Mini. Imi does take damage, but through a thick wall, boys, it's not going to be enough. Ardis here on the AWP, looking ready for this. Takes a little bit of damage from the Molotov. Mighty Max, what can you do? And it is absolutely nothing. I mean, some damage on Mezzy, but they need more than that. Ardis going to find one. However, it's into the 4 versus 4. They've lost control of the B bomb site. The great flash comes in, and a great double from Adam. Maybe a triple. It is. Clean headshot onto ZNX, and that is the round, ladies and gentlemen. Laney is the only one left. He does not fancy his chances at all. And
that goes back to what Hawk was saying on the desk. I mean, we're seeing I mean, it has been happening for a while. The trend is certainly there that IGLs are having to frag out, and we're seeing sharp stuff from Adam. Very coordinated as well, making use of the flashbang. But Laney, now that his position is known, okay, that could have been a kill dead to right, so less crisp from Adam on that exchange. But now tagged low enough, Mezzy will track him down, sensing blood in the water. And that will be another round there for that Vex side. And initially it looked kind of lackluster, the outside take. I mean, earlier we'd seen a bit of an issue in terms of getting down. I mean, they'd gone down towards secret, but they'd taken a bit of damage. Of course, Endpoint will have that information there. I thought that actually might have worked in Endpoint's favor in the fact that Mighty Max, when he rotated in towards the B site, didn't break the glass in towards control, right? Maybe that's a bit unexpected. They wouldn't have sort of looked for him, but they cleared out every other possibility, and it was just so much easier for them to take the site as a result of using all of that utility.
Nothing coming in this round then for the CTs. They try a hut rush this time in towards the lobby. But, of course, Vexed have learned from their previous mistakes. They were very, very ready for it. And they will clean up all 5, not losing a single player. We are into another buy round, but just barely. You know, an SMG out here for Mighty Max and a glass cannon AWP with no utility at all. No kits for the CT side. It's bare bones. It's really not ideal, and I think Vexed recognize this fact again, starting to get more confident, starting to pull out these faster plays. Adam will take out both. Again, that in-game leader chiming in. Mighty Max falls. Laney gets one, but he's immediately traded, and it's doom and gloom, it appears, for Endpoint. Honestly, it's really not looking too good. As we were in very back and forth kind of early rounds, you know, Vex looking good just because they were able to get the pistol. But recently, they have really picked it up and just been picking apart Endpoint. Systematic destruction coming in from Vexed.
Yeah, they're going to tie themselves up for the most amount of rounds led in this game so far. It was 3 at one point, of course, with Vex taking the pistol and able to close out the first gun round.
Oh, and if they can find Ardis here, this is going to be huge.
Flash is perfect. They know exactly where he is.
Might get one. He will, of course. Yeah. You know,
good spacing.
Yeah, really good stuff. Again, it's looking solid in terms of the fundamentals. You know, Vexed, I think, are pretty clean when it comes to that kind of thing. Similar to Wind and Rain, I think that's what Wind and Rain really worked on. Instead of just relying on the individuals, they worked on their structure as well. But for me, Vexed have got a little bit of a deeper playbook, as it were, in terms of, right, we've just lost an anti-eco, we've just lost a rifle round. How do we now respond? And I don't know, especially with Fierce out of the picture now, Vexed are maybe the favorites kind of coming into things. But you never know. Again, Endpoint, very similar boat to Wind and Rain. Could surprise here, but I think Nuke is a really, really, really smart pick from Vex.
The pace is so much faster from Vex now.
Yeah,
I mean, just immediately in this round, took outside control instinctively. Just everybody got down towards Secret except Adam. He was just waiting for information out towards lobby, and he knows that they've cleared out that position, that they're rotating back, and now the backstab will come through. Adam's trying to alleviate some of the pressure from the players on the bomb site so they don't lose any more of these rounds or lose any of these weapons in kind of a silly manner to the pistols that Endpoint saw success in earlier.
Just so much more confidence, I think, from Vexed in general as a squad, and Adam getting an easy 4K, just all on his lonesome. I mean, sure, you know, you joke like Eco Warrior and all that kind of stuff. I think that's why he's got
on 18 kills.
The smile on his face. But yeah, it's well deserved. Earning the money, just really not giving any breathing room at all to Endpoint. It's all going to come down to this. I mean, even 6 rounds on the CT side is just not quite enough, is it, at the end of the day?
Well, it'll be another fast approach here from Vex. This time, Adam just taking the duel, not going to be able to capitalize on the spacing made from it, but Mezzy instead will strike. Emmy's dropped. ZNX is still on the bomb site, hitting behind the smoke, and so far, 2 players dropped. The third, not quite successful. Link able to sweep up the pieces, but he needs to do a whole lot more sweeping. 2 more players to find in a clutch situation.
Finally, ZNX is able to create some room. He's been playing from the back of Silo like the entire game on that A bomb site, just looking to kind of swing out, pick up one, dip back in, get another, you know, buy time for his teammates. And I think we saw it work in the very first rifle round, and it's worked again here. I'm not quite sure that success rate warrants playing there every single round, but who knows, this round could be all the difference. But we don't quite know yet. Link is still alive, of course. At one point, one of the louder names in the UK scene. Ooh, and he's going to catch off Ardis completely. Using that time, using the fact that he's got the bomb, and dictating the pace of this 1 versus 2. And unfortunately for Endpoint, they've done what so many kind of analysts of the game would say not to do in a 2 versus 1. They split up. And they will indeed allow now Link to isolate these 1 versus 1s down to just the single 1 versus 1. Mighty Max has no clue where he's at. I think he is definitely going to move back towards A. Ooh. They're so close right now. Literally parallel, but of course there's walls in between them. 15 seconds remaining. Who will spot who first? Oh, no. Link! He gets the bomb out, and Mighty Max is given a free frag. Goodness me, that is so unfortunate.
Their movement was pretty much identical all the way through up until that point. Because, of course, time's against him. He had 10 seconds. He needed to get that planted at some point.
Just doesn't round the corner in towards lobby as well. It was so very close. But, I mean, you can see, even in the Endpoint camp, you know, they win that clutch, but they know in their heart of hearts, 6 rounds on the CT side is just not enough at the end of the day. Still doable, right? But they're really going to have to step things up here on the team side.
And this is in a game where, so far, Kray's been pretty quiet. Link as well. Link was one of the Prem VPs on the side of Vex, the other one being Mezzy. And thus far, they haven't really had to do too much. Adam's kind of filling that role in the same vein that you'd expect Mezzy to.
Yeah, it's certainly interesting, isn't it, at the end of the day? Either way, moving in here, going to go charging down the ramp. Kray trying to play in from dark, trying to find the heads. He will eventually find two.
There it is.
Okay. Oh my
Okay.
goodness, Cray. What the hell? I don't know what's going on at the moment. The final 4 bullets in his USP seem to be perfectly placed. It will now leave Ardis pretty much all with it to do. The bomb dropped just in front of the doors, of course. I mean, it's going to be difficult here. He's got no utility. He's able to creep forwards a little bit. He does have a fair amount of information, but yeah, as soon as he peeks into one, 2 more will peek him. He spins around to take down Link, but it's not enough. Too many men, of course, as the old adage goes, and it will be the pistol going the way of Vex.
I suppose it's fair that as soon as you call out Cray for being a bit quiet,
Yeah, I know, right?
he has a nice pistol round, gets 3 kills for himself, doubles the scoreline.
And it's like arguably the easier shots of that situation.
Where
He misses.
But the high pressure ones is where he throve. Yeah.
Exactly. Beautiful stuff.
Well, the first to double digits is at least Vexed. And with these SMGs in hand, no armor being brought up on Endpoint. Of course, if they went for the force buy, we'd maybe make the argument that they don't have the type of rounds to play with in which that they rely so heavily on the first gun round to be successful. But although the SMGs are here, not going to be able to find too many multi-kills. Adam able to sweep a couple more kills under the rug, but Mighty Max can't get this bomb planted. Vexed were there on the rotations and such. They will secure a 5-round lead. But this is where this is what you need to change on the side of Endpoint, right? The first gun round is so important for kind of dictating a bit more of how you want to approach the game and whether you can start to get a bit of momentum under your own belt. Take some of that away from Vexed in what has been a fair string of rounds. Of course, outside of the 1v1 that Max was able to win by a sliver. Ooh. Good nade onto Max and ZNX.
Yeah, nice bit of early damage through the squeaky door, I would imagine. Looking at the minimap. Fraser going to be holding down here as the Molotov goes deep in towards Secret. Mezzi is pushed back, so Fraser's somewhat on his lonesome. Doesn't have his pal there to make sure the trade comes in. Takes a hell of a lot of damage here as well. And Imi is trained. Imi is smart. You've got to stay on it, though. I mean, they're safe to Secret, maybe. Is Mezzi going to push forwards? Is he going to stand and wait? Or will start to move forwards? Oh my goodness, Ardis, though, with a quick reaction. Takes a hell of a lot of damage, sure. And I mean, as we see now, you know, some frags coming in here for the CT side, there is the potential for a hell of a lot more. But all the same, Endpoint definitely fighting back, definitely answering back here, playing the mind games as well as they are just pretty much walking everywhere, not giving any information. And it's interesting to see, again, they go for the outside play. There's no smokes that come in. Maybe that shows that they're not quite as prepared as they would like to be. But we'll see. As they start to move towards 8, they will, unfortunately, lose the first one. Yeah, brilliant timing from Adam, of course. Another one coming in from the top of Hut for him. They are yet to see another CT. As soon as they do, Fraser will come in to find another frag, and he gets 2 there from Heaven. Just, again, structurally clean, sound, fundamentally really good. Nothing too flashy, just positionally working brilliantly off.
And not really overextending either, though, right? Adam gets that first kill. He doesn't sort of swing wider to fully clear out door. Instead, kind of...
Right. Reset, let them come to me.
Exactly.
Second kill.
Took a more passive approach, and he had the crosshairs lined up exactly for the duel. And Fraser did everything else. It does seem like it'll be a bit more of an outside approach here from Endpoint. Of course, just pistols and upgraded into some armor as well. Mezzi, missing a few of the opening shots, but now that he's presented with more opportunities, he's not quite able to get it done. Ardis is helped to his death by Fraser, and he'll lose his life and trade it back. Don't think Max is going to be able to find too much more. All the space was kind of created outside, and he needs to pick up the bomb in that position as well, and Vex will have that information to play off of. Should be 3. Oh, they spot him. And, okay, yeah, Max is just going to try and reposition. The best of his abilities. Now you see me, now you don't.
In between a rock and a hard place with like an anvil above him, it's not really going too well at this point for Max. You never know. I mean, like, it's kind of one of those rounds where we'd say damage is good, but they also need to be picking them up at the end of the day. You know, Vexed have just got so much confidence at the moment. They also have such a hefty lead. The odds were already stacked against Endpoint, and now it's kind of looking even worse as the game has gone on.
Yeah.
You know, they also, worth considering, they picked up like 2 or 3 of their rounds very early on in that first half. And then Vex were like, right, adapt, change it up. And ever since then, pretty much, it's been working off the back of a couple individual plays. Maybe they have managed here to pick up some rounds on the Endpoint side. Adam, though, going to get the double at the beginning of this round.
He's having a field day.
Yeah, but it's like they just make it easy for him.
Yeah.
They're just sprinting through a smoke with no solid flashbangs or anything. It smacks of desperation right now. Laney peeking by himself with no flash from a supporting teammate. Mighty Max and Imi left now in a 2 versus 5 in, what, 30 seconds? It's come down to this.
Yeah, and Imi will try and take the initiative, try and answer back with a frag of his own, but first shots are missed, and Mezzi, he tucks and hides, finds the right timing, and now it's just Max in a unwinnable position. 3 players presented, and he's not going to be able to take a single one down. 14-6. This was kind of what we would have predicted in the sense that, of course, Vexed are the expected finalists to come away from the semifinals, but at the same time, like you were saying, there are so many of these key notes in that it does seem desperate, right? I mean, they're in a position whereby they lose their opening duel and they push through a smoke with no supporting utility to kind of make that fight easier, and I guess they serve it up on a silver platter for Adam. Who's
and it's like, instead of, you know, right, we're now in a 3v5, let's figure out how we can work around this. Laney's like, yeah, I'm going to make an individual play at ramp. You know, and it's just, it doesn't, and Imi peaks exactly the same spot as Mighty Max, but 5 seconds earlier. Doesn't wait for his teammate to get there and move in and try and at the very least, you know, make the round look doable. They're kind of broken in a sense, you know, mentally. And I mean, there may be an argument to be made, you know, don't wreck yourself over this one, especially again with everything going on behind the scenes, so to speak, and go into Inferno, which for sure, Endpoint as an org, but also again, all these players, is such a comfortable map. We were really impressed when we saw them play with this very same lineup back in the league play. So there's still potential. There's still potential to bring it to 3 maps, but I feel like this one is kind of set and done. Yeah. To be honest, Vex just looking so very clean, especially on the CT side, pretty much impenetrable wherever they go.
Well, Mezzi in a bit of a sticky situation, trapped between a couple of different rocks. Not quite the hard place, but he'll still meet his demise. Ooh. Adam lingers in the smoke. He hears all these footsteps, trying to find the right timing. Fraser will bring the attention away from that smoke, and that allows Adam out. Fraser going to receive a lot of pressure, but not able to get the job done, and Adam's dropped as well. Now all into the hands of Cray. And he's still sat on the A side of things, and still a lot of time for Endpoint to explore the map and clear things out before they make any quick decisions.
All it takes is a little bit of thought, a little bit of structure, and Endpoint are able to pick them apart outside. You know, Fraser gets a nice one on the AWP. They don't crumble. They don't all, you know, rush straight. Oh, God. Okay, hold on. A free frag comes in for Cray. And again, no one is nearby. It seems those problems that have plagued them continue to do so somewhat. However, okay, he's going to go for it. I thought he was backing away. You know, the AWP is nearby. I thought he was going to back away and save it.
Yeah, they have the money. So, I mean, Cray has every incentive to try and go for some sort of a play here.
Heard, though. So he'll move down the stairs. Does manage to find the frag. Costs him a fair amount of HP. Oh, and Zed and X. 1 HP. Yeah, that could have really flown off the handle. Endpoint finally able to get one, slightly gleeful about it.
And that's more so a round that you'd expect for Endpoint to have.
Yeah.
I mean, the previous round, obviously the one just before that, they seemed to go for some sort of a half-hearted push, whereas when we saw Vex go for a fast play towards A, it was pretty much everybody committed.
Yep.
This time, Endpoint took outside control. Everybody was in a position in which they could kind of help one another, and they were spacing themselves correct to trade things out. And this time, it will be exactly that, a fast play in. Imi gets the double kill. Although they're pushing the back lines, Laney's able to deal with both of them on the spray transfer. King Mezzi won't be feeling too much like royalty in a round like this.
It's always that age-old, like, where has this been? Do you know what I mean? It's looked on the T side so very broken from Endpoint for so very long. And they've showed us in the past couple of rounds, they do have the, you know, the simple structure that, you know, you need on that T side. It's nothing too fancy. It's nothing too incredible. It's not like, you know, really baiting them out with a fake or whatever. It's literally just Imi going, right, They Molotov hut every round. Let's stack up, wait for that to come in, smoke it, and all push through.
No,
It's really not a difficult call, right? But it's taken them the better part of like 10 rounds to kind of figure that out.
Oh, that's Ian, Imi, double entry Hardy.
Yeah, man. He's all about it. He's all about it.
I mean, if they can rely on the player that, or rather, coach now made player due to circumstance, if they can rely on him to get some nice little double kills, whether he's in a lurking or sort of an entry role, I imagine he's kind of throwing his body in that kind of situation as well, just to allow the players that are expected to kind of overperform him a bit more space and give them the best opportunities to get those impact frags. I mean, if he's able to do it himself, then why not? He's not all just brain. He's got the aim for it as well.
Indeed.
The question is this an insurmountable task? I mean, we've seen a pretty good couple of rounds now from Endpoint in a row, but a good tactical pause, I assume, being called here from Vexed, and that they've been caught with their pants down.
Yeah, and I mean, it makes sense. Definitely want to be working things out. Endpoint will also be thankful for it. Just up against the Pistols, probably talking over what kind of a plan they've got for this one, maybe to catch them off guard, because obviously, you know, it would be nice to close this one out. We saw, you know, Fierce earlier on. It's been a day of mental attitudes, really, and Fierce kind of their own worst enemy in the first semi-final. And Vex could end up falling to the same fate if they're not careful. So they definitely do need to be working things out cleanly. But again, we've got a bit of structure here. This is interesting. It's a bit of a different outside smoke play, right? Gives them a lot more room to work with. Would be nice to see in a rifle round. They're unsure whether it's a 4-spy or an eco. You know, they don't know where the saved M4 is. They're playing it smart. But again, as we're kind of alluding to, is it too little too late? You know, it's going to need a very, very clean kind of rest of the half. So they'll start to move in towards B, though. They have spotted Mezzy. They don't know that it is Mezzy, but they know that there's another player around B at the moment. So he's going to take down Ardis. Unfortunately, falls to Mighty Max, though. A nice little trade coming in, and now it's just the upgraded pistols going to charge forwards, maybe do a bit of damage.
The bomb dropped on the catwalk. So now it's in a bit of a compromising position. Although Fraser loses his life, Link can kind of pick up where he left off.
If Link had been a bit closer, I think they dedefinitely could have capitalized on that. It's just a bit unfortunate on the timing, really.
Yeah, still holding for some sort of a lobby flank as well. He was just making sure that there wasn't another angle they needed to be concerned about. And slowly but surely... Oh, he just beat the time. Okay. I wasn't sure if Lenny had spotted him on the other side. I was seeing one of the players went past at just an opportune moment. I think just caught a glimpse of him and made sure that that was going to be an easy enough round for Endpoint to get under their belt. They're just shy of double digits. Still 5 more to tie it up. And Vex now on proper rifles. Of course, they didn't invest anything around the M4 that Mezzy had saved in the previous round. Now they have the weapons they need, but do they have the utility? They've got a few Molotovs, of course, that they prevent these faster plays in towards the A site, which was successful for Endpoint in the previous round.
True.
But now do they have the flashes and the smokes to make some sort of a retake work if they lose out on these positions? Cray, feeling a little bit of pressure towards ramp, immediately falls back. Endpoint have the control to work with, and they can get themselves onto this B site established pretty early.
Yeah, they were kind of banking on Cray to hold things down ultimately, and I think they did have a bit more of an advanced position outside this time around. Good Molotov coming in from Imi, a good headshot coming in from Imi as well. Picks up Fraser, forces the other two CTs to reposition, but that's kind of maybe the mechanical play we were talking about. Peeks out when he's still quick switching back from the nade. At the very least, though, makes some room for Laney to find a frag. Zed and X had gotten one in all the carnage as well. Now into a 4 versus 2 with no kits, with Adam being on half HP. I don't really think they fancy their chances, ultimately looking to escape. And Endpoint will manage to get another round on the board. The gap beginning to close, the confidence beginning to shift, as does the momentum. Can Endpoint keep it going, though? Vexed have still got a fair amount of room to put things to a stop, and of course, pick up that map point.
Well, especially in these last few rounds, they've been able to bypass Adam. By and large, he's not really had quite the same half that he came into this one with. Of course, he had a double kill round earlier on, able to pick up 1 here as well. But it was about on the 20 mark, not able to have as much impact as he would have liked to. Not quite what we saw on the T side of things. And Endpoint are maybe making use of that information. They know, of course, where he likes to play around on this map. May not have prepped too much for the finals, but of course they've cracked and played all the times before. Mezzy making a play through the smoke. The double kill on the spin around. He's traded back, but Cray is able to strike as well. Simultaneously, they're getting split between two angles, and Cray's able to escape with an AK.
Again, they had prepared for that on the Vex side. They were ready. It was their plan that, Mezzy would push through. He made sure his teammates were in position before he did so, and they are able to capitalize. He doesn't go, oh, I've spotted a guy, run straight through. He goes, right, 2 of them have pushed past me.
Yep.
There's probably a straggler here. There's maybe a guy holding secret. I will try and do that. But then I've also gathered that information for the rest of my team to work off of. It's really well done. Again, not making too many aggressive individual plays. Even though he needed to be the individual to step up in this round with the saved rifle, they work it as a unit as opposed to just King Mezzy doing everything.
And the internal timing to understand that the secret players wouldn't be the immediate threat that he needed to worry about as well. Good bit of knowledge and mechanics on display for sure. And Endpoint have gone and explored a different portion of the map, and Vex are getting a bit curious. They felt the initial outside pressure, and now there's nothing there. Endpoint have gone the long way around towards Heaven. Link is the only one that can really lock them out of this A site, just a deagle in hand, and as time begins to tick away, Endpoint need to make the play, but there's the kill from Link. Art is able to trade it back. The bomb still needs to go down. 15 seconds to get it done and 3 more players to find. They're encroaching on his location, and Fraze is able to dial in round number 15.
Well, Vexed are able to steal things away with the half-buy, but a beautiful bit of reaction and, the call to go for that peak. And everybody, again, I spoke about it, obviously, when it was happening, but it's just so good to see. They're able to pick things up, and, of course, now they've got 5 rounds in a row, and Endpoint losing a round like that, it is a bit disheartening at the end of the day.
And you pointed out the different outside smokes that Endpoint had put down before. If they'd gone for those same types of outside smokes, maybe Mezzy doesn't get into that kind of a position, right? Because the ones that they'd thrown acted as coverage for him to get in that position and make that play. The small little details, and Vex making an adaptation that works around what Endpoint had brought to the table. And now they need to try and fend off a map 1 victory here for Vexed. Max trained on the angle, a little bit of a shoulder peek there from Fraser, but didn't want to walk into the pre-fire, immediately backs himself away. He's shown that he was at least there, and now him repositioning like this means that Endpoint, if they go towards Secret, will be a bit paranoid because they identified that somebody was in that position earlier on.
Here we go then. We're seeing these slightly unorthodox smokes coming in. Again, I think that is kind of Imi's influence. One thing he does very well is watch a lot of CS, but also, learns from it really well and picks up certain plays. However, they cannot account for Adam. He will eventually burn, kind of blinded up, low HP. Link still here at the back of Silo, though. He's got something to say. Takes down Z and X. This on the AWP. It's not ideal up close. Swaps across to another weapon. It's Mighty Max now in a 1 versus 3 to keep his team in it, and he cannot get it done. It will be 16-10. A really, really good showing coming in from Vex.
Yeah, I mean, that was what we expected in terms of results, but a bit shaky in a few instances. Endpoint are able to capitalize on those mistakes, but of course, we only have so much to say about it. We have every expert on desk, and we'll see what they have to think about how that game transpired.